Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. All right, so you want a weird one? Here we go. Here's the grain of salt for all of you out there. So, remember when we got news that the Bitcoin ETFs were going to be, and I love how this is like the three letters that are dominating this year. We got news that the Bitcoin ETFs within the US of A were going to become a thing. I believe I always keep thinking the 11th or 12th of January. Sure, why not? Those are the dates I'm going to say. On the 12th of January, when they finally launched, the news then quickly became that the US was also going to allow other ETFs for other coins. Immediately, the news popped up that we were going to get an Ethereum ETF. At the time of me making this video, it still has not been decided. But the speculation was, as the US SEC has said that Bitcoin was a commodity and got a security product, that because in 2018, the SEC also said that Ethereum was a commodity, that therefore they would also be getting a security product as well. That was the general idea. And then we saw Gary Gensler kind of lose his mind publicly on Twitter and on CNBC, where he said like Bitcoin is still for criminals. And we were like, okay, cool it, Mr. Gary, you sound a little crazy right now. And that's led us into the idea that we still have 2 weeks and some change before the official yay or nay from the US SEC as to the Ethereum ETF. Still with me? I hope so, because I'm talking in English. The other part is that we quickly then heard that apparently, allegedly, there might be a XRP ETF. And we got that news because Brad Garlinghouse went on to, everyone's on CNBC, went on to CNBC and basically said, because of the winning of the lawsuit of the non-security classification for XRP, that potentially in the future, XRP was also going to get its own ETF within the United States. It doesn't seem unplausible, but the current state of affairs with the SEC and Gary Gensler, a little skeptical. For those of you who don't know the legend as well, we were apparently told there was like a literal like apocalyptic fight within the SEC for Gary Gensler to actually say yes, even to the Bitcoin ETF. So other coins are like, I don't know. That quickly went away when we got news from the people from BlackRock who were like, we're currently not at the moment trying to get any type of an XRP ETF, even though they had literally a day before just filed for an Ethereum ETF. And the idea still being, wink, that BlackRock will probably, wink, get what BlackRock wants when it comes to the ETF. If you're watching this in the future, you know if the theory was right or wrong. So here's the other weird thing that we've also been getting. There's a coin in the market that you should know about. If you don't know this coin, I'm not sure how you made it this far in this market. You are a magician if you've gotten this far. This coin has been around since like 2013, 2014. It's not spoken about as much anymore because it's not a hype coin. The creator of the coin actually made sure, he said in 2017 or 2018, that he was stepping away from the project because he got tired of the price of the coin reacting to his tweets. You should know the story, some of you. If he tweeted, today is going to be a great day, the price would go up by 14%. If he didn't sleep the night before and he was grumpy, he's like, yeah, it's kind of raining over here, the price would literally fall down. So at some point he left and it was like, I'm going to take a huge step back. I haven't done anything, blah, 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 blah. He even sold off the coins that he had to make a point. He was like, I want this to exist in the ecosystem by itself. And a lot of people kind of lost faith in the project. I mean, it was still always fine for me. But the problem is, unlike many other coins that are always in the news, the altcoins, there was no essential head of the dragon. So people didn't have anything to look forward to or a place to look for some kind of like optimism when it came to their product. We didn't hear about this coin for about a good 2 or 3 years. That's not even a joke. Everything else that was in the news was Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, XRP, maybe Tron, the database Solana. What else was there? Oh gosh, 1 or 2 other like really Terra Luna Classic and 1 or 2 random other things. Maybe some Algorand and certain, maybe some Avalanche as well. Cool, comma, whatever. Let's continue. Litecoin was never really part of the news or of the equation for a good number. We had no Litecoin news. Even when we had the last Litecoin news that was really big that we had also floundered. And it was when they got the upgrade that basically allowed them to have private transactions. It's like a little switch. I don't know why that's a switch, but you can turn the private transactions on and off. And the idea was and has always been that Litecoin, in essence, as it is a source code fork, is essentially Bitcoin, but a light version. Therefore, Litecoin, as whatever works on Litecoin, works on Bitcoin, like literally. So they always test stuff to see if it works on there. Then it gets moved on to Bitcoin. Litecoin randomly made it back into the news in middle of January, where we heard that there was a website that does like remittances, so they send money around the world. And for some reason, their most used coin on the platform wasn't Tron, wasn't Cardano, wasn't XRP, it was Litecoin. Second place was Ethereum, third place was Bitcoin, and fourth place I think was XRP, but at that point it was like 0.5% of their transactions. And I think more than 40% was Litecoin. And I was like, okay. And then we started hearing news that there were apparently companies and corporations who were also interested in Litecoin. There were multiple rumors that kept on popping up. And I was like, where the fudge is this all coming from? Because Litecoin hasn't been in the news for a very long time. This news popped up and I was like, okay. Once again, remember that grain of salt that you should be holding on to, but I'm sure you dropped at this point. The creator of Litecoin is back in the news. Here's the weird part. He recently said that he thinks that there's also grain of salt. He thinks that there's also going to be a Litecoin ETF approved. One of the rumors that we heard beginning first week of March was that behind the scenes, the rich were apparently looking into a Litecoin ETF. And I was like, I guess it kind of makes sense. One of the because they apparently would be looking for something that's outside of the classification of a security. One of the reasons, for those of you who don't know or maybe are mystified as to why Bitcoin doesn't have a security classification, is because while for every other coin, no one controls them, they all have a larger figurehead. For Ethereum, years ago, Vitalik Buterin also said in 2018, 2019 that he was going to step away from the project at some point. And the price fell by like 30%. Like that week, because people thought he was saying, you know, I'm going to be leaving. He was also saying like, I can't remain here forever. I can't be the head of this project. And everything that I say, everything that I do is affecting the price. This was also years ago. There was an event somewhere where he announced that he had like a scaling solution for Ethereum called Plasma. And he said he realized after, while he was on stage, that no one listened to him. He said, no one listened to a word I said. He was talking about like another layered solution on top of the chain called Plasma. And he said people came up to him after and they said, how much is the Plasma coin? And he's like, there is no Plasma coin. And they were like, yeah, but you were talking about Plasma and it's going to be, he realized like no one listened. They were just simply listening to the fact that his mouth was moving and that they thought that they could make extra money from it. So he's also said that he wants to leave. Cardano has Hoskinson. Tron has Justin Sun. Every single coin has a leader, if you will, but Bitcoin and Litecoin don't. Even XRP, to an extent, has Garlinghouse. There's a figurehead for every single project, and Litecoin doesn't have one. This is also part of the reason why the guy from Dogecoin also left years ago, but his was more For those of you who don't know, the guy who made Dogecoin was upset that people were taking Dogecoin seriously, and that's why he left the market. You can find that he was angry. He was like, "This is a joke. This is a meme," and the price kept on going up, and he's completely over it. Back into the news. Charlie Lee was recently on a podcast. It says on a recent interview with Bitcoin Bros. I don't know what that is. Forgive me. He basically was talking. They were asking him, because of the hyper similarities of Litecoin to Bitcoin, it's essentially the same thing. Litecoin has 4 times as many coins. It also has a halving, which took place last year. It's always 1 year before Bitcoin's actual halving. And the actual proof of work mechanism, which allows Bitcoin to be more decentralized, as you need more computers and things like that to actually run it. They were asking if he thinks that there is a chance that Litecoin is going to have an ETF. And he said, where was it? Without having to find the exact words. He literally said, like, it's a matter of, like, when it's going to happen, not if it ever could happen. He literally was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, we're going to get a Litecoin ETF approved. It's just a matter of, like, when the day will happen, as opposed to, like, no, this can never, ever actually take place. Something really weird is happening with Litecoin, and I don't know what it is. Even as far as, like, the actual price movement of Litecoin, if you compare it to the other altcoins that we've seen, and I need to preface this and after-preface it, this is in no way an endorsement for Litecoin. I know sometimes I say things about certain coins and people are like, are they paying you? That was one of the most annoying. For those of you who were not here years ago, the comment section used to be ridiculous. If I talked about Bitcoin, people were like, are you being paid by Satoshi? If I talked about, there were rumors for years, because people tell me, like, what happens when people talk about me on Reddit and other places. Like, I know you're all talking crap about me. People were talking for years and trying to figure out if I was being paid by Ripple to talk about XRP. Do you understand? Like, you need to go outside and get some fresh air. Like, go for a walk. Like, find a beach, go skip some stones. Like, go do something with your time. Every time I talked about a coin on any channel, everyone was like, I'm sure he's being paid by them. And it's like, no, because if I was, I would definitely have to disclose that. That's not how, you know how, like, when I talk about Ledger, like the affiliate link I have in the description below, like, if I talk about Ledger, I always have to say, like, while I do not work for Ledger, I am an affiliate. If I was being paid, it would have to, that's how. So anyway, yeah. I think something very fascinating is happening with Litecoin. It's a little weird because we didn't hear about it for years and now it's back in the news. If we start seeing or hearing, because, nothing, on Twitter, people find out. If on Twitter we start hearing that, like, 5 companies are filing for a Litecoin ETF, it would make a lot of sense. But yeah, Charlie Lee normally isn't in the spotlight anymore. This guy's usually, like, he maybe posts every once in a while, but he's not on TV, he's not on interviews, he's not on podcasts. He literally was like, he popped out of nowhere and was like, yeah, we're probably gonna have a Litecoin ETF approved. And I was like, where'd you hear that news from? Because no one else is talking about that. Yeah, guess little grain of salt video, simply because yeah, I think eventually the cryptocurrencies, and I get a 5 or 10 year period, I think we'll have nearly, the main coins will definitely have ETFs. It's just a logical progression in the space. But I think this if we end up getting Ethereum ETFs approved, and the craziest part is, spot physical Ethereum ETFs already exist in multiple other places around the world, but the narrative always remains US SEC approval. If we start seeing Hong Kong and Canada and Singapore and Australia getting Litecoin ETFs approved, yeah. I mean, it does make sense. Litecoin isn't a bad coin. It just doesn't, it's not hyped. But it's, If you were here years ago, Litecoin was one of the coins to have. So we'll see if history ends up rhyming and or repeating. Yeah. The article will be in the description for those of you who want to peruse and to read. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.